And 3, 2, 1, we are live. Welcome up here to Powderhorn Mountain Resort. We are gathered today to check out the fastest U12 racers in the region. We are looking forward to racing slalom this morning. Looking uphill, I see a few final course corrections getting set. We will get started racing in about 5 minutes. My name is Eric. I will be announcing and giving you guys the what's what today. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Leitner Poma, We Move People, Timberline Bank, Shaw Construction, the Greater Grand Junction Sports Commission, Reams and Reams Law, Intermountain Health, Rocky Mountain Orthopedics, Dufford, Wadleck Law, Rocky Toppers and Campers, Towie Adventure Tow Bungees, and All Sound Designs, Technology Simplified. We're going to start with the women on the right course. So looking uphill, that's going to be our left course. You can see we've got two slalom courses here. So they have one start and one finish, but two separate courses. Hearing some chatter on the radio to my left, listening in. I need a tall person to go down to the scoreboard area and help clip the score sheets up to the top clips. Any tall person down there at the finish corral, can you just jump over and help them clip those papers onto the wall there? All right, score sheets are at the base, getting ready to be installed. So you can't. So those of you following along on YouTube with us, you can't see that, but down below us there is like a finish tower where there's a raised deck with a wall where they handwrite all of the times. And we've got speakers down there, so they will listen to what I say. I'll tell them what bib number, what the time is, and they'll write the time for the particular racer on there. All right, so live timing will not be operational. So a lot of the parents were used to live dash timing working while the race is running. We have that checkbox disconnected, so we will not be sending live timing data during the race. After the race is over, we will resend all data, and you can check the scores on livetiming.com. Speaking of checking what's going on, you can go to powderhornracing.org, powderhornracing.org, and go to the live events tab, or drop down and go to today's race. You'll see it by date and Saturday, Slalom Saturday for the U12s. And on that webpage, I have the live timing embedded along with the YouTube video feeds embedded. I encourage you to hit me up on the live chat. Speaking of live chat, my son, Emmett Landis, is the first one to hit up the live chat. He says, "Tell us a joke already." All right, well, what's up, Emmett? This is my son on spring break in Florida. He's sitting on the beach making fun of me right now. Okay, I just got a send forerunners when ready. Okay, timing clear. Hey, Emmett, why do bees have sticky hair? Because they use a honeycomb. There you go. There's your joke. Emmett's still chatting me. He says it's relaxing where he's at. Okay, I got to get focused. We've got forerunners ready to drop. Sponsor reads are done. Ref sheet is open next to me. Here we go. Sending first forerunner. Yeah, see a forerunner in the gate at the top. Here we go. On course. Wow. This is a tight, challenging slalom course today. I think that's a hairpin in the top quarter. Coming through. This could be a flush right here. Boom, boom, boom. Yep. All right, coming into the bottom screen. So here's going into the wide angle camera that sees the finish. Boom, clean run. And forerunner gets a 36.07, 36.07.
Forerunner 2 had a time of 41.94.
Okay, on course. We are racing. This is bib number 1, Charlotte Miller on course, bib number 1. Bib number 2, Joan Girard in the start gate. Hard, yeah. All right, Linda on the YouTube chat says, go Steamboat, go Grace. Number 13. So we are running in bib order, so Grace will come up 13th. Joan on course the top. Iris Stoller next up in the start gate, bib 3. Coming at us is bib number 1. Looking good so far, keeping it together. Yeah, this is a tricky, tight course today. Bib 1 has a mistake at the bottom. Bib number 1 is going to be a DNF. All right, looking uphill. Iris Stoller on course. Avery Dye next up in the start. On the YouTube chat, Ryan Hatfield says, my ski boots are untied. And my zipper's down. I don't think that's true. Avery Dye on course the top. Freya Storhaug in the start gate. Iris Stoller mid-course. Bib number 2 gets a time. Joan Girard, 44.92. 44.92. Avery Dye on course at the top. Iris nearing the bottom. Freya in the start gate. Bib number 5 in the start gate. Coming at us is bib number 3. Okay, Fib 5 on course. Lillian Duerk in the start gate. At the finish, Iris Stoller, bib number 3, gets a time of 44.61. 44.61. Lillian in the start gate. At the top, Freya. Coming to the bottom, Avery Dye, bib number 4, coming through the finish with a time of 44.26. Lillian on course at the top. Ava Black next up in the start gate, bib number 7. Number 6 at the top. Number 5 coming at us. Avery Dye, bib 4, just finished with a 44.26. Got an overcast and windy day up here. Go Sophie. Sophie is in the start gate right now. Robert is watching you on YouTube, Sophie. Go Sophie. Sophie Verrier from Eldora in the start gate, bib 8. Ava Black on course at the top. Lillian Duerk coming at us. At the finish, we just had bib number 5. Freya with a 51.74. 51.74 for bib number 5. Lillian, number 6, coming at us. Ava Black hustling through the middle. Sophie ready to drop. Here we go. Sophie in the start. Oh, I'm looking uphill. I don't see a skier in the start. Okay. Sophie getting her skis on. Okay, skis on. I see her clicker pulls together. Come through the finish. Bib number 7, Ava Black with a 44.32. 44.32 for Ava Black. Sophie Verrier on course. Quinn Tetuan. I think I got that. Tetuan. Okay, Quinn on course the top. Billy Dorado Boysen in the start gate. At the finish, bib number 7, Ava with a time of 44.32. Bib number 8, Sophie is coming at us. Quinn mid-course, Billy on course the top. Sophie, bib number 8 with a time of 42.51. Looks like the fastest so far today. Bib number 9, Abandoned. Bib number 9, DNF. Billy Dorado Boysen on course. Ariana Laro on course at the top. Brooklyn Beckerman in the start gate. Brooklyn next up. Our last finisher through was bib 8, Sophie with the 42.51. Boysen, bib number 10, coming at us. Ariana Laro hustling through the midsection. Brooklyn Beckerman on course at the top. Grace Mara next up in the start. At the finish, bib 10, Boysen 50.09, 50.09. Ariana looking good here. Finishes clean. That's bib 11, 42.04. That is fastest. 42.01. Grace Mara on course. Anise Adams in the start gate. Brooklyn Beckerman headed to us. That run from Ariana Laro looked really good there at the 42.04. And Brooklyn comes in with the 42.83, another good one. Reese Tura in the start gate. It needs some duct tape to tape the finish score sheets up. Okay, catching up. Here we go. Brooklyn, bib 12, just came in with that 42.83. Grace, bib 13, Grace Mara with a time of 40.98. Anise Adams, bib 14, with a 49.26. Reese Tura coming to the bottom. Alexander Teno on course the top. Maddie Waldron on course the top. Cecilia Valentino next up in the start. Woo! Now we're caught up. All right, at the finish, bib 15, Reese with a 42.84 for bib 15. Cecilia on course the top. Nicole LaBelle next up in the start gate. Coming across the finish line, we have bib 16, Alexandra Teno with a 42.31. Nicole LaBelle ready in the start. Oh, bib 17 has a hiccup at the finish area. Confirm that. Okay, Nicole LaBelle on course. Nicole having trouble at the top. Bib 19 out at the top. Millie Bib 18 will not finish. Something just happened. Everybody on course just wipes. And that's bib 20, Millie Erbel. Okay, Millie seems okay. Eberly, of course. Millie Eberly. That is how it's spelled. Got it. Millie Eberly. Valentina Kawamura next up in the start. You know, I say at the state championship, go for it. What have you got to lose now? few of the girls making mistakes, but at least they're trying hard. I appreciate that. All right, this is bib 20 coming at us. 21 on course the top. 22, Brianna Vignali in the start gate. Nearing the bottom here, Millie Eberly, bib 20, with a time of 49.68. And Robert says, good run, Sophie. Sophie, if you can hear me, Robert's watching you on YouTube. Good job. Up at the top, Amelia Schwartz in the start gate. Brianna Vignali on course. Coming to the bottom is bib 21, Valentina Kawamura. We just had Millie finish with the 49.68, bib 20. 21 coming across the line right now. And Valentina, bib 21 with a 49.15. Amelia Schwartz on course at the top. Phoebe Wassner in the start gate. Ooh, mid-course, Brianna getting crazy. Coming into the flush. Holding it together, looks good. Okay, Phoebe Wassner on course. Monroe Mangelson in the start gate. Brianna, bib 22, comes in with a 50.23, 50.23. Ava Strout next up in the start. Monroe on course. Phoebe coming to the bottom. Bib number 23 just finished, or Amelia Schwartz is finishing with a time of 39.76. Fastest. That is our first time that we've seen in the sub 40-second mark. Ava on course at the top. Daphne Mulk in the start gate. At the finish, bib 24. Phoebe with a time of 55.80, 55.80. Monroe, bib 25. Monroe Mangelson, bib 25, with a time of 40.01. That's 40.01. Daphne Mulk on course at the top. Ava Stroke coming at us, bib 26. Sloan Dvorkin on course at the top, bib 28. Naomi Sill next up in the start gate. Coming across the finish line, bib 26. Ava Strout with a time of 44.91. Daphne Mulk coming to the bottom, mid-course, Sloan. Naomi Sill in the start gate. Okay, course workers, anyone hand scoring? At the top of the course right now is 219, bib 219. Naomi Sill is on course at the top. Never mind, she's a DNF. That's 219. 219 abandoned her run. Daphne Mulk, bib 27, comes in with the 46.59. Sloan on course at the top. Millie Wah. Amalia Bacchus in the start gate. Oh, that's bib 30. Millie loses a ski. And 29 out. It is like wiping the race course. Everybody's out. The race course is 0 skiers on course right now. The last racer through with a time was Sloan, bib 28, with a 56.12. 56.12. Okay, I've got Leslie says, we love you, Amy. Amelia can hear me at the top. Amelia, they're watching at home. No pressure. Okay, and Amelia on course right now. Next up in the start, Harper Hollowell. Oh, there is something going on with that course right there. I'll tell you what, guys, the course conditions are crazy. Okay, she picks up and resumes. No radio chatter. This is going to be fine. It is better to get a time than no time. This is good for Amelia. Harper in the start gate, ready to go. Coming into the flush. Boom, 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 boom. Amelia deals with that challenge well. Harper on course at the top. Sydney Adam in the start gate. This is bib 31 headed to us. 32 on course. 33 in the start gate. And Amelia, bib 31, with a time of 43.45. 43.45. Harper Hollowell coming to the bottom. Sydney Adam on course at the top. Elena Smith in the start gate. Ileana? Ileana. I'm going to try to write that down. Bib 34. Okay, at the finish line, Harper gets a good run, bib 32 with a 46.40. Annika Toland in the start gate. Ileana Smith, mid-course. At the finish, bib 33 just comes in. Sydney Adam with a time of 45.01. Toland on course the top. Kristen Sung next up in the start gate. This is bib 34 coming out. It's 34 at the top, 36 in the start gate. And 34 with a time, Ileana Smith, 47.13, 47.13. Annika Toland, mid-course. Charging through the midsection, Kristen Sung. Reed Rinchler in the start gate. Kristen Sung really low, finding some traction out there. You know, I watch a lot of ski racing, and there's a common theme to fast racers. They look low when you look uphill at them. Okay, Reed Rinchler on course the top. Jaslyn Spritzer in the start gate. At the finish, bib 35. Annika Toland with a time of 50.79, 50.79. Kristen Sung has a great run, 43.26 for bib 36, 43.26 for bib 36. Reed, bib 37 mid-course, on course the top, Jaslyn Spritzer. Elizabeth Barney next up in the start gate. So I was talking about course conditions. It has been warm. The snow is melty, like it's icy underneath and melty on top right now. Course conditions are less than optimal, but challenging for these best skiers in the Rocky Mountain Division at the U12 Championships. Bib 37, Reed Rinchler with a time of 54.86. Jaslyn Spritzer on course. Elizabeth Barney on course at the top. Piper Stokes in the start gate. Sadie, next up in the start. Sadie, I've got a Let's Go Sadie. Be careful out there from Shay on the YouTube chats. Shout out to Quinn Ebner. All the Marzinis are rooting for you. Jaslyn Spritzer, bib 38, comes through with the finish, 45.60. Sadie Helmel on course at the top. Baker McDonald is next up in the start gate. At the finish line, bib 39, Elizabeth Barney, 40.51, 40.51. Sadie mid-course. Piper coming to the bottom. Baker in the start gate. And Baker on course at the top. At the finish line, bib 40, Piper Stokes, 46.39, 46.39. Sadie coming to the bottom. Looking good. I feel like I can see the course rutting up already. Bryn Barrowclough on course at the top. Baker McDonald mid-course. Bryn having trouble. Bryn going backwards. Bryn 360. Still on her feet. Does the splits. And loses a ski. Bib 4-3. Bryn abandoned. 4-3. Write that down. Okay, Baker McDonald has a safe run with a time of 48.96. Before Baker, we had Sadie, bib 41, finished with a 46.67. Corey Bomarito on course. Bergen Gillian in the start gate. Gilligan, not Gillian. Gilligan. Bergen in the start gate. Bergen on course. Mary Grace Crump next up in the start gate. So coming at us is bib 44, 45 on course, 46 in the start gate. Corey coming to the flush, getting through that challenge. No big deal. All right, Mary Grace on course. Pippa McGlincy in the start gate. At the finish, we just had bib 44, Corey Bomarito with a time of 43.76. I'm sorry, did I say 43? 53.76 for Corey, bib 44, 53.76. Bergen, bib 45, finishes with a time of 45.02. Mary Grace Crump nearing the bottom, that's bib 46. Bib 47, Pippa on course. Margot Weber, bib 48 in the start gate. All right, Margot on course the top. Bib 46, Mary Grace Crump with a time of 52.50, 52.50. Up in the start, Reese Stockhausen in the start gate. I'm looking uphill. Margot Weber has some serious edge angle. Lots of speed. Had a little hiccup in the middle, but she's still going fast, no doubt. At the finish line, Pippa McGlincy with a time of 48.73. That's bib 47, 48.73. Reese Stockhausen on course the top. Next up at the start, Gabrielle Kozicki. And at the finish, even with that hiccup, Margot Weber goes fastest! 37.55, 37.55 into the number one spot unofficially for Margot Weber, bib 48. 49 headed to us, Reese Stockhausen. Gabrielle Kozicki on course at the top. Next up on the start will be Neve Moulton. Bib 49, Reese with a time of 55.86, 55.86. Neve Moulton on course at the top. Alexandra Steensland next up in the start gate. Kozicki coming to us. This is bib number 50. Reaching for it. Gabrielle, bib 50 with a time of 41.42. 4142. Up at the top, Alexandra Steensland on course. Isla Heron in the start. Isla Heron in the start. Alexander Steensland mid-course. Coming across the finish is bib 51. Neve Moulton with a time of 50.37, 50.37 for bib 51. Uli Bauer in the start gate, bib 54. It's just hard to remember. Alexandra Steensland, bib 52, with a time of 48.63. All right, Lucy Vasquez on course the top. Georgia Rady in the start gate. Yes, Rady. At the finish, Isla bib 53 with a time of 55.31. Rayati? Okay, Rayati. Okay, Francina Jordan in the start gate. Oh, that's bib 56. Georgia Rayati having trouble there. Francina Jordan on course. Riley Haynes in the start gate. Our last finisher through bib 55, Lusky Vasquez with a time of 41.95. Riley Haynes next up in the start. Okay, Riley on course at the top. Eleanor Souter in the start gate next. Ooh, it looks like the sun is trying to peek through right now. Bib 55, Lusky Vasquez just finished with the 41.95. Coming across the finish right now, bib 57, Francina Jordan with a time of 42.19. 42.19 for Jordan. Eleanor Souter on course. Avery Wallen next up in the start gate. Riley Haynes nearing the finish here, bib 58 with a time of 40.97, 40.97. Avery on course. Next up in the start gate will be an Amelia Shank. Looks like the wind has calmed down as well. Okay, Eleanor Souter, bib 59, with a good one, 39.20. Unofficially going into the number 2 spot for Eleanor Souter, 39.20. That's a good run. Tegan Colliander in the start gate. Amelia Schenk on course at the top. Avery Wallen nearing the bottom. This is bib 60, 60 coming to the bottom. And Tegan already on course at the top, 62. Ashley Gibb next up in the start gate. Across the finish line, bib 60, Avery with a time of 49.46. 49.46. Ashley Gibb on course at the top. Ainsley Fleming next up in the start. Next finisher, bib 61, Amelia Shank, 41.75. 41.75. Getting under that 40-second mark seems to be very difficult today. Ainsley Fleming on course at the top. Next up will be Imogene Harney. Tegan Colliander, bib 62 with a time of 51.40. 51.40. Okay, Imogene on course. Ella Spraycar next up in the start. At the finish, Ashley Gibb, bib 63 with a time of 50.75. Let's go, Avery. You got this, girly. Love Aunt Nikki. Yeah, Neve, watching from Puerto Rico. Love Poppy Kai and Val Val. Ella on course at the top. Emmeline Springer in the start gate. At the finish line, bib 64, Ainsley Fleming with a 50.70, 50.70. Imogene Harney nearing the bottom. Ella Spraycar on course at the top. Emmeline Springer in the start gate. And Harney, bib 65, with a time of 40.26, 40.26. That is a good run. Emmeline Springer on course. Alexandra Zatseva in the start gate. Zetseva. Okay, Alexandra Zetseva on course. Smith Stern in the start gate. At the finish, bib 66, Ella with a time of 48.77. And Emmeline Springer looking great out there. Bib 67 with a time of 38.01. Emmeline looks like going into the number 2 position unofficially right now. Emma Caldwell in the start gate. Smith Stern mid-course. Alexandra Zetseva, bib 68 with a time of 42.11. 42.11. Emma Caldwell on course at the top. Smith Stern mid-course. Next up in the start, Hayden Chakowski I heard over the radio we're getting to the last few racers. The pace of dropping them is going to slow slightly to make sure everyone gets a clean and safe run. Okay, Hayden on course. I believe finish intervals will start with Evelyn Clark, which is bib 73 in the start gate right now. Okay, Smith Stern, bib 69 with a time of 51.12. 51.12. Emma Caldwell, bib 71. Oh, this is bib 71. Has trouble. Okay, 7-1. Will not finish. Up at the top, bib 7-3, Evelyn Clark having trouble. Is out. That's 7-3. Okay, Evelyn Clark. Where's Evelyn? Looks to me like bib 73, Evelyn Clark having trouble. I don't know where she's at. Has anyone seen 73 come through the finish? Okay, yeah, 7-3 out. Okay, looking back uphill, bib 7-4, Quinn Ebner on course. Denarius Peterson in the start gate. Okay, Peterson in the start gate. Peterson on course. At the finish, we just had a good one. Danny, bib 75. Okay, Danny Peterson at mid-course. At the finish, Quinn Ebner, bib 74 with a time of 44.12. 44.12 for Quinn. Caroline Owens in the start gate. This is bib 75. Danny Peterson coming to us. Bib 76. Caroline Owens should be the final racer in the start gate right now. Getting ready. And Caroline Owens, bib 76 on course. At the finish, we just had bib 75. Danny Peterson, 51.46. Oh, bib 77 is the final racer. It looks like Kaya Shine in the start gate. That's final racer, bib 77 in the start gate. Looking uphill, Caroline Owens taking some chances, bib 76, skiing aggressively, trying to find some time out there. Yeah, course looks dicey for sure. Caroline Owens having a good run though. Caroline, bib 76 with a time of 44.95. 44.95. Kaya Shine, mid-course. Oh, splits a gate. Gate catches the inside of the ski. Kaya is going to be out. Bib 7-7. Okay, listening for radio faults. 0 faults at start. No faults in the middle. Okay, we had 3 faults at the finish. We will get those entered. Bib 31, 49, 51. Okay, for those of you watching from home, I am uploading timing data to the WhatsApp, and we are transitioning to the men. So give me just a few minutes here. Okay, here we go. Timing is clear. Finish is clear. Lower section is clear. Middle section clear. Top is clear. Okay, we've got 3 forerunners. I expect them, so the guys are going to be on skiers left, lookers right. So as we look uphill, they're coming out of the same start gate that the girls just did, but they're going to be on the course that veers off to our right as we're looking uphill, and they're going to come through the same finish. Okay, 9:57, first forerunner in the gate. Here we go. This is the first that we've seen go through the hairpin, coming up to a flush. Ooh, going fast, slowing it down a little bit. That looks good. Looks like a delay gate there. I haven't actually seen this course get run, so I'm piecing it together just like they are. Okay, second forerunner on course at the top. It's like another hairpin coming to the finish, and we get a time. That was a good looking run. Forerunner 34.03, 34.03. We are struggling to hear that communication on the radio that just came through. Okay, final forerunner on course at the top. Okay, so switching my sheet over to the guys. Okay, bib number 1, Simon Vargas Miller, should be the first racer today, or the first racer this morning. And, okay, second forerunner. Second forerunner was a time of 40.39, 4039. Final forerunner 3708. Okay, Simon starting in a minute and a half. Okay, waiting with bated breath for the first racer of the men's slalom run 1 to start. Okay, Simon getting ready. Okay, here we go. Bib 101. Simon Vargas Miller on course. First racer on course. We'll see how this goes. Courses have proved to be tricky this morning. Slalom courses always have a lot of DNFs and disqualifications. It's just part of the event. So watching slalom racing super fun because it's so wild. Hey, Lincoln Laurie in the start gate. Lincoln next up in the start gate. Live chat's a little bit quiet right now, parents. I need some encouragement for these kids. Lincoln Laurie on course. William Hilsendagger. This is bib 101 with a time of 39.58. That's a good start. William 103 on course. Brooks Brownson, we are skipping from 103 to 105. 104 is currently a DNS. And at the finish, we just had Lincoln, bib 102 with a 34.55. Brooks Brownson on course at the top. Jack Venetos in the start gate. Okay, hand timers, pay attention. The person in the start gate right now, Jack Ventos, is wearing bib 218. 106 is actually wearing bib 218. At the finish line, William, bib 103 with a 51.26. 51.26 for William. Brooks, bib 105 coming to the bottom. Mid-course, Jack. Miles Vinzara in the start gate. Miles on course. Owen Wall next up in the start gate. Last finisher through, bib 105. Brooks with a 43.04. Jack is going to be wearing bib 218, but you can write down 106 or 106/218 so we don't get Jack confused. Owen Wall on course at the top. Next up in the start, Carter Perviance. And Jack, bib 106/218 with a time of 51.54, 51.54. Miles, bib 107 with a time of 40.75, 40.75. Carter on course at the top. Soren Grisham in the start gate. At the finish, bib 108, Owen Wall, 34.46. 34.46 for Owen Wall. Carter coming to the bottom. Soren Grisham on course. Clay Conkling in the start gate. Dude, 109. Carter is ripping. Ooh, something happened right at the end. I don't know. That was a fast time. 32.47 for Carter. Bib 109, 32.47. Fastest currently. Soren Grisham, bib 110. Is having trouble mid-course. Ski is off. That is going to be 110. Okay, Carter, bib not Carter, but bib 110 is a DNF. He's out. Clay Conkling on course at the top. Murray Trosterman in the start gate. Ooh. Clay out. That's bib 111, DNF. To the scorekeepers down at the tower, I'll try to do better communicating. Bib 110, DNF. 111, DNF. 104, DNS. Murray Trosterman on course. James Cowie in the start gate. James on course. Next up on the start, Simon Thiel. Simon on course. Gareth Mann next up in the start gate. And Murray, bib 112, comes in with a good one. 52, I'm sorry, not 52, 32.50, 32.50 for bib 112. James Cowie, bib 113, finishes with a time of 39.32. Simon coming to the bottom. Gareth Mann going crazy mid-course. Bib 115. Gareth Mann up in the start. Luke Atwood. Bib 116 is in the start gate. Luke is on course. Luke Danzer is in the start currently. Gareth Mann putting on a show right now. Coming through the finish, we just had bib 114. Simon Thiel with a time of 34.26. Gareth Mann going crazy. Gareth Mann, bib 115 with a 31.60. 31.60 unofficially into the number one spot. Charlie Quinn in the start gate. Luke Danzer on course. Luke Atwood coming to the bottom. This is bib 116 coming to the bottom here. Luke Atwood, bib 116 with a time of 38.06. 38.06. Charlie Quinn. Ooh, Charlie Quinn, bib 118, has troubles. Okay, hand timing, hand scoring. Pay attention. Bib 104 is not a DNS. 104 is in the start right now. Bib 104 is on course. So scratch the DNS. Dane Fisher, bib 119 will be next up in the start. At the finish, we just had Luke Atwood, bib 116 with a 38.06. Luke Danzer, bib 117 with a 35.94. Cameron McCollum on course currently. That's bib 104 coming at us. Now we go back in line. A bib order. Dane Fisher, bib 119 on course at the top. Caleb Ketter in the start gate. .119 pushing hard here. Okay, let's catch up at the finish. Bib 104, Cameron McCollum with a time of 40.47. Dane Fisher, bib 119. Where's 119? Oh, 119 finished. Dane Fisher, 34.12, and 120 just disappeared. 120, both skis are off. Full yard sale. Bib 120 picking up the pieces, putting the puzzle back together. In the start gate right now, Anthony Casano. On the YouTube chat, I've got one coming out for bib 131. Micah Safer. Go Micah, put the hammer down from Candace Dorr. Okay, clear to resume. Anthony Casano gets started. Bodie Bauer next up in the start. Anthony coming through the flush. This is bib 121 coming at us. 122 in the start gate. Bodie Bauer on course. Benedict Ulmer, bib 123 in the start gate. Sun is coming out, burning off the clouds. It is pretty gray above. Uh-oh. Oh, sorry. I saw that skier coming down. Thought it was a skier out, but that is the previous skier. Okay, Anthony Casano, bib 121 with a time of 41.13. 41.13 for bib 121. 122 coming at us. 123, Benedict Ulmer on course. Graham Rowland next up in the start, bib 124. That's 122. Bodie with a time of 38.43. 38.43. Graham Rowland on course at the top. Steele Sabella in the start gate. Benedict Ulmer mid-course. Bib 123 coming to us. That was a nice reach by Benedict Ulmer, 41.77. I see a lot of racers not reach low enough to get through the finish eyes. Benedict has a good one, 41.77. Up at the top, Steele on course. Graham coming to us. Eli Greenberg in the start gate. Okay, bib 124 finishes with a 41.63. Graham Rowland, 41.63. Steele mid-course. Eli Greenberg, big 126 on course. Hand to scorekeepers, pay attention. We are skipping bib 127. 127 is currently a DNS, switching to 128 in the start gate. Callum Murchison on course. Felix Locker will be next up in the start. At the finish line, we just have bib 125, Steele, with a time of 41.37. Before him, bib 17, Graham Rowland with the 41.63. Before that, 41.77. Lots of 41s. And Eli Greenberg puts down a heater, 35.74 for bib 126. Eli Greenberg. Callum nearing the bottom. Felix on course the top. Oliver Lake next up in the start. This is bib 128 coming to us. We skipped 127. So that's 128, finishing with a time of 36:01. Oliver Lake on course at the top. Micah Saffer in the start gate. Let's go, Anthony, bib 121 from Tony. Rip it up, buddy. Eli Feroldi, bib 134 from Taylor. Okay. Micah on course. Gabe O'Connor next up in the start gate. Oliver Lake comes through. Let's catch up on the finishes. Bib 129 with a 30.96 goes into the one spot for Felix Locker. Felix blowing it up out there. Oliver Lake, bib 130, came in with a time of 36.45. That's a good one also. Micah coming to the bottom, Gabe O'Connor, bib 133. Pay attention, we are skipping 132. Bib 131 is finishing now. The next skier through will be 133. 132 is a DNS. Okay, 131, Micah, bib 20, so bib 131 with a time of 41.96. 41.96 for 131. 133 coming to us. 134, Eli on course at the top. Kieran Madandi in the start gate. Kieran in the start. Eli mid-course. At the finish, bib 133, Gabe O'Connor with a time of 39.14. Kieran Madandi on course. Noah Morty in the start gate. Eli Feroldi coming into the bottom here. That's Eli, bib 134 with a time of 42.74. Okay, 137 will not start, so we're skipping from 136 to bib 138 in the gate. Andrew Souls in the start gate. Noah Morty mid-course. Kieran Madandi, bib 135, finishes with a time of 49.08. 49.08. On the chat, we've got one for Eli Feroldi from Taylor. Rip it up, buddy. Go Micah from Cadence Door. Let's go Anthony from Tony. Up at the top, Griffin Curry next up in the start. At the finish, Noah, bib 136 with a time of 45.71. Before that, bib 135 was a 49.08. Griffin Curry on course at the top. Andrew nearing the bottom. This is bib 138 nearing the bottom. We're skipping from 136 to 138. Miro Mosconi on course at the top, bib 140. Marcel Miracle in the start gate. Bib 139 having trouble, will not finish. Bib 139 disappears out of my view. Marcel in the start gate. Miro Mosconi, bib 140. Marcel, of course. Marcel Miracle on course. Jack Hardy next up in the start. Coming to the bottom is bib 140. Next racer through the finish is 140. Mosconi 41.80 for bib 140. Miro Mosconi 41.80. Jack Hardy on course at the top, mid course. Marcel. Like we're skipping 143. Okay, 143. There's no racer with bib 143. We're skipping from 141 to 142 to 144. Speaking of 141, Marcel with a 46 flat, 46.00. Jack Hardy nearing the bottom. Ewan Dunlop mid-course. Jack Cowie next up in the start. This is bib 142. 142 at the finish. Next skier through will be 144. skipping 143. So 142 with a time of 42.70. Up in the top, Oliver Woods in the start gate, bib 146. 144, Ewan Dunlop comes through the finish with a 34 flat, 34.00, which is a hot time. Jack Cowie mid-course, Oliver Woods on course at the top, Aiden Schmidt next up in the start gate. This is 145, has trouble. 145 mid-course. I can't tell if he missed a gate yet. I think he's okay. I'm not a gate judge, but he's back on course. That's Jack Cowie, bib 145, keeps it together. Aiden Schmidt on course at the top. Joaquin Schupp in the start gate. I just heard start-stop on the radio. Jack Cowie, bib 145 with a 45.36. Joaquin Schupp, 148 in the start gate. At the finish, we had Jack Cowie, 145 with a 45.36. Oliver Wood, bib 146 with a 40.59, 40.59. Aiden Schmidt, 147, nearing the bottom. Aiden Schmidt, 147 with a time of 37.42. That was a good time. Small amount of coursework here on one of the final gates in the run. I do have a drill. He may need a drill up there. If he needs it, course crew. All right, just handed that drill off to fix the gate that got pulled out there. The snow is thin on our race course. Okay, start is clear to resume. Yeah, just set that drill there. We're fine. Thanks, buddy. I hope you're with us tomorrow. The last 5 times. We're going to say the last 5 times. Okay, as quick as I can. 141 looks like a 46 flat. 142, 42.70. 144, 34 flat. 145, 45.36. 146, 40.59. 147, 37.42. Joaquin Schupp on course. Griffith Scherbier on course at the top. Griffith already on course. Morrison, Leibrand in the start gate. This is bib 148 headed to us. 148 nearing the finish. 149 mid-course. And Joaquin Schupp at the finish line, bib 148 with a 48.98. Morrison on course at the top. Luke Marshall next up in the start. At the finish line, bib 149, Griffith Scherbier with a 43.57. 43.57. Luke Marshall in the start gate. Morrison Leibrand mid-course. Luke Marshall on course. Dustin Ward next up in the start. Dude, Luke Marshall is absolutely sending it mid-course right now. Dustin Ward next up in the start. At the finish, we just had Morrison Leibrand, bib 150 with a 52.88. 52.88. Luke Marshall was taking chances mid-course. Let's see if it pays off. Still looking good with a nice reach. Oh, Luke Marshall, 31.29 going into the 2 spot, just shy. 31.29 for Luke Marshall, bib 151. Nicholas Kasdan on course. Liam Tanis in the start gate. Dustin Ward nearing the bottom. That's Dustin Ward coming across the line. Bib 152 with a time of 39.26. 39.26 for Dustin Ward. Liam on course to the top. Peyton Smith in the start gate. Oh. Liam Tanis, 154. Gets crazy mid-course. Looks like it's still good, though. Okay, Peyton Smith on course at the top. Clayton Edwards next up in the start. At the finish line, bib 153, 153. Nicholas Kasdan with a 44.14. 44.14. Clayton Edwards on course at the top. Austin Gibb next up in the start. Coming across the finish, bib 154, Liam Tanis with a time of 42.09. 42.09. Clayton mid-course. Austin Gibb in the start gate. And Austin on course. Finley Rosenthal in the start gate. At the finish line, bib 155, Peyton Smith with a 37.89. 37.89. Go Liam from Jackie Polimony. Austin Gibb coming to the bottom. Finley Rosenthal on course. Forrest Canava in the start gate. At the finish, Clayton Edwards, bib 156 with a time of 43.04. Forrest on course at the top. Coming out fast. Owen Holmes next up in the start. At the finish line, Austin Gibb, bib 157, did a time of 48.89. Finley Rosenthal nearing the bottom. Okay. Hand timing, or scorekeepers, pay attention. We do not have a 160. Bib 160. There is nobody, so we're skipping from 159 to 169. Speaking of 159, yep, to 161. Okay, so catching up on the finishes. Finley Rosenthal, bib 158 with a time of 52.67. Forrest Canava, bib 159 with a 37.73. Owen Holmes on course. Ingram Olson on course at the top. Colin Crewman next up in the start. At the finish, bib 161. Owen Holmes finishes with a 37.83. Dylan Anderson next up in the start. Colin on course already. Ingram Olson nearing the bottom. Dylan Anderson on course at the top. Next up in the start, Barrett Groff. That's bib 163 coming to us. Bib 162, Ingram Olson finishes with a 43.57. Not 5.7, 5.3. 43.53. Colin, bib 163 with a good one, 35.12. Barrett Groff on course. Jack Kofoid. Jack Kofoid in the start. Barrett Groff, mid-course, laying it down. Jeez. Dude, I looked uphill and he was fully sideways, still in the course. This is crazy. Dude, Barrett looking really fast here. Dylan Anderson, bib 164 with a time of 47.59. That's 47.59 for Dylan Anderson. And Barrett Groff goes fastest! 30.68, 30.68, 3068 for bib 165. Barrett Groff taking chances the whole way. That was awesome to watch. I got to see most of it. Jack Kofoid, mid-course, up at the top. Thomas down 167, has trouble immediately. Thomas down 167. is down. Next up in the start, Donovan Frazier is in the start gate. Thomas down. Looks disappointed. Jack, bib 166 with a time of 41.76. Okay. We are on to bib 168. We have less than 10 racers to go. Cooper Curry is next up in the start. Looking uphill at Donovan Frazier right now. 168 is headed to us. Donovan's got Mom and Everett watching from Durango. I'll try to give him the shout out when he gets down here and can hear me. Cooper Curry on course. Grayson Smith next up in the start. Ooh, Cooper Curry. Cooper, bib 169, will not finish. 169 will not finish. Donovan Frazier, bib 168 with a good time, 36.71. Donovan, I got a shout out here for you from Mom and Everett watching from Durango. Go Dono. From Joy. Up at the top, Ransom Pierce in the start gate. Grayson Smith still mid-course. This is bib 170 headed to us. 171 on course at the top. In the gate, 172, Ansel Garrett. That's bib 170, Grayson Smith with a time of 44.37. Bib 171. Headed to us. Donovan, I've got another Go Dono from Angela on the YouTube chat. Ansel Garrett in the start. Ransom Pierce, bib 171, coming to the finish here. And Ransom with a time of 46.72. 46.72. Ansel Garrett on course at the top. Asher Groman next up in the start gate. This is bib 172 on course. 173 in the start. One 173. We've got three racers left. That's bib 172. Ansel Garrett with a time of 36.29. Not bad. 36.29. Asher Groman on course. Ooh, Asher gets off balance. Asher is out. 173. Asher will not finish. Henry Kasdan. Then Antonio Munoz is the final racer in the start gate. Henry really fighting to stay on course and in line here. Course has got to be feeling crazy towards the end of this slalom run. Oh my gosh, Henry getting thrown around. We are on what's called a finish interval, so the last racer will not start until the current racer finishes. Go Antonio from Joy Penelope. Antonio in the start gate. Antonio on course. Last finisher through, bib 174. Henry with a time of 38.80. 38.80 for Henry. And bib 175, Antonio Munoz with a time of 41.23. 41.23. Okay, I have to switch into timing mode. We will resume racing at 12:15 this afternoon.